Hi, folks. Welcome to the Ivy Boys Podcast, Take 2 this week. I am your host, Chipper Lewis, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Joel Fry. Joel, how's it going, buddy?
It's not going much better than it was the last time we were talking, honestly. Cubs have split 2 games so far against the Padres, haven't made up any ground in the Central, and they are holding on by the skin of their teeth, which is a weird phrase, by the skin of their teeth to that second wild card position right now. So it's not a foregone conclusion that the Cubs are going to make the playoffs. And frankly, with the exception of one particular player making his debut recently, not a lot of positives coming out of Wrigley Field right now.
That's true. I mean, you're 100% right. Not a lot of positivity. Nico making his appearance well earlier than both you and I know anybody talked about possibly happening. And that's where we're going to start, I guess, is with Nico, because I don't know if I'm ready. I haven't had enough beer yet after work to talk about last night's walk-off walk. So we're going to go ahead and jump. We're going to go positive first, okay? So your 7 minutes will start once my question is asked. Joel, Nico Hoerner made his Major League debut 2 games ago on Monday night against the San Diego Padres, and he did well. He did really, really good, actually. Like, it reminded me of Starlin Castro's debut in Cincinnati. Mm. And then last night kind of came back down to earth. I think he had a hit last night, which is fine. I mean, that's fine. The kid's going to get out. Everybody gets out, right? So my question is to you. A couple ones. So, are you excited Nico got called up? B, I know it's hard to be excited because of the situation that he got called up in, but otherwise it's still exciting. And C, where do you see him fitting with this team, and do you see him possibly being the second baseman going into next season? Loaded question.
It's going to depend a lot. It depends on a lot on how well he does for the rest of the year. The Cubs might have depth at the infield coming into 2020. I don't want to talk about 2020 yet too much.
Yes.
But also, I mean, Nico could be a trade piece, honestly. We'll see what he ends up being as a member of the Cubs the rest of this season, but he could be one of the few assets that the Cubs have on the Major League roster on the last day of the season that could garner something in trade talks. I mean, I would at least listen if somebody came to me and said, hey, we want to give you this and this for Nico Hoerner and this. But what do I expect from him for the rest of the season? I mean, look, if he hits 280, that'd be awesome out of the second base position. The Cubs are one of the worst in all of baseball in productivity out of 2 places in the lineup. Leadoff and second base. And a lot of times the second baseman has been the leadoff, like with Ben Zobrist earlier in the season and a couple of times later this year, or most recently. And Tony Kemp is going to be the leadoff man tonight playing second base. So it's really a double whammy because your worst hitter in the lineup for many stretches of the season has been at the second base position, the very person who's leading off. It's challenging. Nico might be a good second base option next year. Right now, he's a very serviceable shortstop. That much I can tell you. And it's encouraging to see. I hope he hits 280 from here until the end of the year. That would be just fine by me. Because a lot of the other guys on the team are, I don't know about heating up, but, I mean, hitting fairly well. Schwarber's doing great. Hayward, a couple of bombs last night. Chris Bryan is coming out of a little funk, cortisone shot, helping out with him. Cortisone Chris. Probably not a good nickname to have. I don't think that's one you want to carry in your 30s. Cortisone Chris, but he's that's what he is right now. So if he can complement the rest of the lineup nicely, not be the guy, I don't think he – in this lineup, I'm sorry, I caught myself there. The realization that in this lineup, I even have to say, I don't expect Nico Hoerner to be the guy. There are so many guys in this lineup. Nico should just be an afterthought or a nice complimentary piece. That's what I expect of him. And if he is that, and the Cubs are somehow able to hold on to the wild card spot, because I'm not going to talk about the division right now. Let's talk about the division once it becomes Cubs-Cardinals as a series. Until then, I am leaving that off the table and making sure the Cubs have a postseason berth, period, even if it is the wild card.
Wow. Okay, so we were talking Monday when we were experiencing technical difficulties. No one actually could understand what we were saying. at the time. But we were talking how now Nico hadn't played yet. And we both agreed that he was there as a glove. We wanted him just to be defensively. And the fact that these other players are starting to hit again. Chris loves hitting in San Diego, and maybe this will get him going again. So maybe with this lineup and everybody's starting to hit again, maybe he can be, and we're not going to have him hit 280. Do you make sense? Like realistically, we want him as a glove. So if he's hitting 190, 200, as long as everybody else is hitting, I'm okay. Because I think that's realistically where he's going to be.
Yeah, they got no one else to put at shortstop right now. At least not reliable. I mean, you don't want to put David Bodie over there for any period of time. He's just, it's interesting how Bodie, now that he's, people have a book on him and a scouting report, just not terribly impressive. Although I forget who, maybe Michael Cerami put out some numbers that were pretty favorable to Bodie over the last couple of months. But either way, it's not an option you want at shortstop.
No.
So if he's a good glove, which he has proven he is a solid glove, I feel good with him being there at short. Defensively, I mean, with that being the case, I don't know about 190. I wouldn't feel great about that because, I'm
but you have no other option.
Stick him with 280, man.
Yeah, but you have no. If he's hit 190, as long as he's not making errors, you really don't have an option. You really don't.
I mean, I understand that, but I think that, it's tough. I mean, if you're not hitting, you shouldn't. You're not playing for this team right now, and not a lot of guys are hitting.
Right.
Although over the last few games, it has been more encouraging. I mean, Kyle Schwarber has 35 home runs now. I was saying a month or two ago, I thought, man, he might hit 35 this year, and now he is going to knock on the door of 37, 38 by the end of the season.
I think he knocks on the door of 40.
That'd be great.
I have a really weird feeling that he is going to have a monster 4 games against the Cardinals.
That'd be cool.
I have absolutely no explanation of why I think that or why I have that feeling. I just feel like that Schwarber is going to announce himself as the guy that we are going to need when we need that guy. That he's going to give us those home runs.
He's had a little bit of Babe F. Ruth in him.
He's kind of clutch in the big games. He's kind of clutch in big games.
Yeah. Well, not like, but he. It's tough to define clutch with. I mean, Chris Bryant.
I hate that word. I do hate that word. I hate the word clutch.
In baseball, it's tough. You can choke.
You can choke, but I don't think there's clutch.
No, I mean, I'd have to look through and see if they're like maybe. Let's see how clutch Frank Thomas was. See about that, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe.
But how do you even figure that out? What, batting average with runners in scoring position?
Well,
like what's the definition of clutch?
I don't know. Is Mike Trout not clutch because he's only been to the playoffs once during his career?
Right. Exactly. So I hate that word. I hate that word in baseball, clutch. What? Because Derek Jeter played in all those playoff games and all those World Series, so he got hits in it, so we consider him clutch?
No, he was his normal self. He played like I'm trying to think how many games he played. He played like a season in the postseason practically for his career, right? I mean, 10 games a year for about 15 years. That's about right.
Yeah. So
I bet it fleshed out.
He just had the chances of playing so many postseason games that everybody just thought he was clutch. That's, I mean, is Ben Zobrist clutch?
Yeah, maybe. I don't think you can define him as clutch. Rizzo probably more so in my mind, but and one last thing about Hoerner is he has been as advertised in a lot of ways. I mean, like through 2 games you can see not much pop. Kind of sneaky speedy. It seems he might be sneaky fast.
He's the opposite of Almora.
And he hits the ball where it's pitched.
Yes. Unlike Almora, they're both sneaky, but Hoerner's sneaky fast. Almora's sneaky slow.
Strikingly slow.
Strike is sneaky. Like, he should be fast. We've talked about this. Yep. He should be fast, and he's not.
Ooh. Ooh, he got thrown out on the base pass. That really snuck up on me that he would get thrown out there.
We have a couple comments on the clutch situation, and they happen to be from my wife. So she said Pujols came through in the clutch multiple times in the playoffs, which is true. I mean, Albert Pujols' biggest home run was off of Brad Lidge against the Astros in the playoffs.
Wait, one second. And yep, it just rotated around the earth one more time. I saw it out my window.
Right there. I mean, that's the biggest home run of his. He broke Brad Lidge that night. He did. So I guess Pujols would fall in that Jeter category because he played so many postseason games.
He did, man. And you think about that. Pujols has 2 World Series championships. Is that right?
That's correct.
11.
Yes.
Man. Yeah. You don't think about it's crazy that the Cardinals have 11 World Series championships.
It absolutely is crazy. And what is it? So let's see here. 1982 and then 06 and 11.
Mm-hmm. Or the most recent one.
Yeah.
They had hopes in 95 and 96, but the Braves knocked them out in the
correct. And then 2013, they went to the World Series and came up against the Red Sox. And then the 04 team, they went to the World Series and they ran into the self-proclaimed idiots. That nobody, the 27 Yankees weren't going to even beat those Red Sox once they got to the World Series. That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. That Adam Wainwright, Albert Pujols Cardinals team from 06 to 2011, maybe even 04 to 11, although you'd have to put Chris Carpenter in there then and not so much Wainwright. But those teams were – that's borderline dynasty depending on how you want to define the term dynasty.
Well, I mean, it was the Atlanta Braves. It was the Braves in the 90s.
In a lot of ways, yeah. The Braves – it's too bad. I mean, because the Braves made the World Series in 91, 92, 95, 96, 99. Man, they made the World Series 5 times and won once.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I'd still rather make the World Series 5 times and win once.
Absolutely. So, and by the way, that 04 Cardinals team, to this day, hands down from start of the season until the very end, is still the best all-around team I think I have ever seen in my life.
I'd have to go back and think about some other teams. I remember that 08 Phillies team was really good.
The 98 Yankees were really good.
The 98 Yankees might be the best team in history. They might be the second best team. 27 Yankees, but I wasn't around for that.
Best team in base ever.
Where do the 16 Cubs fall into your best teams you've ever seen?
Ever seen? I mean, they're definitely in the top. Where are they? I say 04 Cardinals because I go start to finish. I mean, the Cubs pretty much did it start to finish. Cardinals.
You start the year 25-6. That count.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about the 04 Cardinals is they didn't finish. They ran into destiny is what they did. And that's to no fault of their own. They ran into destiny. But I still put them there. But I guess the 2016 Cubs would be second. Followed by the 98 Yankees.
Okay. The 2010 Giants are an underrated great team.
Extremely underrated.
They what?
They are extremely underrated. They are forgettable, though. Wow, that's true.
You look at that. Top to bottom, that was a great pitching staff, and you had a couple of guys in that lineup who were fantastic. So, we can go through there were a lot of really good. The 08 Cubs would have been one of the best teams I've ever seen at one point. Honestly, that team was phenomenal. And then they get swept in the postseason, so they don't qualify. But the 08 Cubs at one time might have been the most fun team I ever saw was the 98 Cubs up until 2016. But the 08 Cubs, that was a lot of fun.
That was fun in the regular season. Absolutely. Yes. I agree. Okay, so obviously time has passed. We got into something because we were talking clutch, and then we started talking about Pujols, and then Cardinals, and And we had to do our list of best teams. Somehow we got there that we've ever seen. So, best team to never win a World Series that I've ever seen, the Cleveland Indians of the 90s.
Well, wait. The 04 Cardinals didn't win a World Series. You're saying they're the best team
I'm not talking about a single season, I should say. I didn't word that right. I'm sorry.
Are the 95 to 99 Indians the best team never to win a World Series?
Yes.
See, I disagree because I don't think they have the pitching staff to qualify there. Maybe the best lineup never to win a World Series, but because you have a bunch of guys who at one point or another, I mean, let me think about this for a second. Kenny Lofton, Omar Vizquel, Carlos Baerga, who is underrated.
Yep.
Obviously Bell for a couple of those years, Jim Thome, Manny Ramirez. That's a heck of a team.
David Justice.
And David Justice. Wow. And that team did not win a World Series.
And Sandy Alomar Jr.
Yes.
Okay, very underrated catcher in his prime, Sandy Alomar Jr.
Sure was, totally. I completely agree with you. And yet their best pitcher was Chuck Nagy.
Yeah.
Or Jarrett Wright.
I never thought Jared Wright would make it onto this podcast.
Dude, so many people we have never thought of in years have made it to the. I think it's been far too long before we said the name Bill Miller. Last time we said Bill Miller was a while ago, so we got to make sure we mention him at least once a quarter.
That is once a quarter. I like that. Once a quarter, we make sure we say random Cub players. Terry Mulholland. There you go. There's one.
I like Mulholland. Rubber-armed man.
Rubber-armed man. He was Steve Cishek before Steve Cishek.
Yeah, but Mulholland's baseline was not great, and Cishek's baseline is great until you throw him 24 innings in 21 days, and his arm starts to fall off.
Boy, what a great move to the next segment. This is the Ivy Boys podcast presented by Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Baker Gundecker, 314-369-9680. Speaking of Steve Cishek, I've had a little bit of beer now, so I'm ready to go here. The walk-off walk. Okay. Here's what I want to say about walk-off walks before I get your opinion about what happened last night and before we start the timer. Okay. Here's where I'm going to go with this. Instead of nibbling around the zone, underhanded. I don't care. Do not walk with anybody with the bases loaded. I don't care. Make him hit the ball. Make him hit it.
You have been drinking. No, not under. This isn't.
I'm starting the timer, by the way. I'm starting the timer. Go.
All right. This isn't Rookie of the Year. You can't underhand the damn thing. He just needs to throw strikes, and he was nibbling around the edges. A couple of those I don't blame the umpire. I know.
I do. I've seen the sequence. 3 of those were strikes.
You're welcome to think that. I mean, he's bad for everybody. You've got. There are 2 or 3 umpires. We're not going to talk about this for the whole season. But there are 2 or 3 umpires who are so universally understood to be terrible behind the plate that I don't even begrudge them when they miss a call anymore, because it's just kind of baked.
Just know it's coming.
It's just baked into the experience of having them behind the plate, and so I don't bother with that. Should not have been in that situation in the first place. If
Correct.
You handle your business in the second inning, you're not down 6-2.
Correct. Zobrist. Second night in a row. Same play.
Yeah. I don't know if tonight was a scheduled day off for him due to rest or whatever, but, I mean, it came at a pretty good time because he has been butt in the field.
All right, well, here's the thing you got to remember with Zobrist. I don't know if you saw it. He took a foul ball off the inside of his leg last night, and then he was pulled. When they brought in Tyler Chatwood, Happ took his spot at second base.
No, so when the game was 6-5, I had to get to bed because I had work.
No, I get it.
Those games are not for the Midwest. Those games are for the West Coast audience, and God love them for being up for the whole thing.
Absolutely.
But It's been a while. I mean, back before I worked, but when I was in school during the summer, I would stay up for those games every single time.
School.
I'd fall asleep in one chair, my grandpa would fall asleep in the other. We'd be watching the game, and he'd get up and check the final score or whatever. But now I just can't. He being Zobrist, I think even without the foul tip, I think he gets the night off tonight. So yeah, it might be for maintenance, but still after that, yeah, I why not try Tony Kemp? What's the harm?
Well, there's absolutely no harm. I wouldn't have hated seeing Ian Happ though. I think he could have played with something there.
I get that
instead of Tony
That's fair.
Kemp. I like Tony Kemp, but here's the problem that the Cubs have right now. Their bench right now consists of two guys that are exactly the same player, Daniel Descalso and Tony Kemp. They're exactly the same player, same role, and that's it's hard to consider yourself a World Series contender when those two are there on the same team.
Well, the problem is their role on the bench is guy that sucks.
Yeah.
That's why you're not going to win the division, because you got too many guys. Your bench is too shallow at this point, and it wasn't supposed to be this way. And I know that no team trying to win would ever say, "Hey, our bench is depleted. We have a really, after our 1 through 8, it really goes downhill." But the Cubs were so deep; they had such a deep pool of talent over the last 4-5 seasons. And then to watch it fall apart this year so far, you're getting no production out of guys that you were banking on. And we've had this conversation many times, but when you're having to rely on Tony Kemp, when you're down by 4 games in the division on September the 11th, never forget, this is not where the Cubs thought they were going to be at any point before the All-Star break. The Cubs had a 3.5 game lead, was their biggest lead of the season, and you pee that away down your leg. It is
In a week.
It's garbage. Yeah. And the Cardinals, hey, give the Cardinals credit. They aren't losing ball games right now. They lost last night. You could have capitalized, and you didn't. You lose a game in extra innings. You never should have been in extra
innings. And they're
innings.
beating teams they're supposed to be beating. They're not playing anybody above 500 right now. And they're beating these teams.
Oh, well, the Cardinals are going to start playing teams above 500.
Yeah.
But one of the teams above 500 is the Cubs. And if you don't take care of business against the Cardinals, you're not going to see the postseason.
Correct. Okay, so the walk-off walk, because you know what? So I want to go back there because we started talking about something that we'll talk in the next segment. We're not there yet. I don't want to go there yet. Because I want to stick to this game because the Cubs came back twice. They were down 6-2, and then it was 6-5, and then it was 8-5, and then it was 8-8. The Cubs kept crawling back, and you saw something that you really haven't seen all year with this team. A hunger, a resurgence, something. They were. It seemed like they were alive. They were awakened. And then the bullpen. And for the offensive guys, you have to, in the back of your mind, you have to think, we did everything we could. We gave them 8 runs. This pitching staff 8 runs. We gave the bullpen 8 runs, and they still couldn't hold it. I mean, how depleting is that for players who, like Hayward and Bryant, who gave everything they could last night to get the Cubs back from that big hole they were put into? How depleting is that for a player like that?
It's got to be one of your worst losses of the season. I have a question for you. Is the walk-off walk your least favorite way to lose a baseball game? Or is there
Oh, gosh. No, I hate that with a passion. I would rather the guy make solid contact and a base hit. I'd rather the guy just make contact and they win on that. That's why I say literally just throw it down the middle.
What hurts more? So I get that. Honestly, I think Cishek was trying to throw it down the middle and just couldn't. Did last night hurt more, or did the Bryce Walker walk-off grand slam hurt
last night?
Really?
Yes, last night. Because A, it's Bryce Harper, one of the best bats in the game, and B, the Phillies are better than the Padres. The Cubs should have wiped the floor with the Padres.
Yeah, you don't even give yourself a chance with the walk-off walk.
No.
Walk-off wild pitch, also an awful way to lose.
Yes, but still, it's still the walk because all you got to do is throw it down the middle.
Yeah. Well, with the wild pitch, all you got to do is not throw it in the dirt.
That's true. That's true. But now you're on the pitcher and the catcher. This is strictly on the pitcher.
By the way, I caught for 6 years. I caught all through high school. Bases loaded, end of game. There's a lot of pressure on the catcher. The catcher really feels it in that situation, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. But yeah, walk off walk. It's I just hate it. I hate it so much. It should not happen in Major League Baseball. It just shouldn't happen. That's one of those things that you should get fixed. That should be fixed before you make it to the big leagues.
Yeah. Also, last thing on it, it was ball 12. So you don't walk the other two guys to get to that situation either. You
exactly.
put yourself in a bad spot right away.
You just got to put it in the strike zone. Your ball moves if you're Cishek. I understand you're trying to throw your sinker and you're trying to get them to, top the ball and get a ground ball. I get that. But, even if you throw your two-seam fastball works just the same. It has enough movement on it that you could top it and you can go. That's all I'm going to say. Shout out to SMH Cool Boy. He says hello. So, here's a hello from the Ivy Boys.
Keep SNYH, man.
SMH. SMH. SNYH.
Right. But SMH means shake my head, and I told him to keep shaking his head.
Oh.
Keep SNYH.
Oh, my gosh. I'm such a dad. I had no idea that's what I meant. Okay. Anyways, this is the Ivy Boys podcast presented by Rebecca Lewis. Of course. He says ignore the name, by the way. I'm curious now. Presented by Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker. 314-369-9680. Okay. So, walk-off walk. Cardinals lost last night. Cubs lost. A lot of people lost last night. A lot of people that are kind of right there fighting for these wild card spots and, of course, the Central Division.
The Brewers lost big, more than just on the field last night.
Yes, we'll definitely talk about that in this segment. But it's 4 games. We sat here last week and we said if you can get it to 3, if you are within 3 games by the time that 4-game series against the Cardinals start, you have a legit shot at this division.
That's still true.
Is it still true? That's my question. Do you actually do you still believe that? After everything that's happened, losing Baez, Russell getting hit in the head, Nico Horner getting called up because of it, do you still believe that is the case? Go.
Unbelievably, yes. I mean, the Cubs do not entirely control their own destiny unless it's within 7 games, and it is almost certainly going to be within 7 games when the Cubs start playing the Cardinals. As long as you can keep it, 4 games is close enough, but you can't let it get any more than this. It's so weird to be able to be talking about.
It's weird.
Like, the season feels over in a lot of ways. It just feels hopeless, and the Cubs are DOA right now. Mm-hmm. But all that goes away if you win 3 of 4 against the Cardinals and you're right back in at a game or 2 out. Something like that. Just it's preposterous to think the Cubs are still going to be alive until at least the 4th game of the first series.
Wow. That it does blow my mind, because how many people on Cubs Twitter have completely written off the Cubs?
Most.
A lot.
Including some people who I think kind of like trolling the Cubs. I don't know. It's that Twitter's weird and very negative, and I'm not crazy about it. But
how would you feel if you write a book about the plan and then 3 years later you're completely destroying the team that you loved? Just saying.
I don't know. Whoever it was that wrote that book, The Plan, was really hating on the plan in 2013 and 2014 anyway. So
that's true.
You look back at what certain writers who may or may not have written a book called The Plan were saying about the plan 3 years before the Cubs won the World Series, and you would have thought that Theo Epstein had lost his mind and was making a huge mistake. Yep. Then again, the people who probably were beat writers for the Houston Astros back in 2012, 2013, 2014 were thinking the same thing about them, and that team has turned into, to borrow what a person on Twitter said, they have turned into what the Cubs hoped they would become.
I have thoughts about that. I was actually thinking about that today, exactly what the Astros are and why the Cubs aren't. Okay. So, I mean, it's simple, and everybody's thriving to be the Astros, right?
Yes.
Baseball is a fecal bitch when it comes to luck.
I think it's fickle. I think it's fickle.
Fickle bitch. When it comes to luck,
fecal
man. That's gross. No, that's not what I meant to say.
You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
No, that's not what I meant to say. Thank you, Joel. It's not fun because everything. I mean, look at the Brewers last year. It took career years from Orlando Arcia and others like that for them to win the division. They're not winning the division this year because players like Orlando Arcia and those players they relied on last year are not having career years. No. Cubs are kind of the same way. They're just talent. Their talent level is a little bit better than the Brewers. Cardinals have always been that way. They'll have down years because they'll have career years from, they're having a resurgence from Adam Wainwright in that rotation. Right now, Wainwright is their third best starter. Adam Wainwright. You really expect that to happen next year? Because I don't.
I'm shocked that Wainwright is still able to pitch.
Yes.
I mean, as many as he's had, I thought he'd be out of the game by now.
Absolutely.
So good for him. On a human level, if take the jersey away, take everything.
I love Adam Wainwright. I really like Adam Wainwright. I've always respected him because I knew he was such a good talent. Hall of Very Good. I wouldn't put him in the Hall of Fame, but he's in the Hall of Very Good.
Oh, he can't be a Hall of Famer. He's been too injured. I imagine that Adam Wainwright is like if Justin Verlander's career had turned out like the low end of the spectrum of possibilities for Justin Verlander.
If he stayed in Detroit.
And got injured a lot. Yeah. I mean, okay, Wainwright never had the strikeout swing and miss stuff. I don't know about never, but he didn't have it to the degree that Verlander did. When Verlander was coming up, he was an anomaly, man. A guy who could, in the seventh inning, throw 99.
Yes. Wainwright is the pitcher version of Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, okay. I'll go with that.
Yeah, the pitcher version of Miguel Cabrera.
Wait, did you say Wainwright is?
Yeah. Yeah. Injuries, and he kind of dropped off there at the end. Just like Miguel
I'd say more the pitcher version of David Wright.
I like that better. We'll go with that. I like that better.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. But what I was saying was the Astros, all their positions are filled with guys who they don't rely on that guy to have the career year for them to win.
Right.
They don't, because they just expect it. Because all their players are top level Major League Baseball stars. They're not relying on Orlando Arcia. They're not relying on a Ben Zobrist. They're not relying on an Adam Wainwright because their players they're better. The talent level in Houston is just better. We are talking literally, you could give me 5-6 of these players on this team and they will start in an all-star game. Guaranteed. And then they go and add Michael Brantley, the most underrated free agent signing of the offseason. And all he does is hit. All he does for Houston is hit. Exactly what they needed. They needed somebody to get on base ahead of the bats. And
who's the Yordan guy for Houston?
Oh gosh, Yordano Alvarez.
Yes.
Oh, he's a rookie. This kid is going to be awesome.
Yeah, he's a lot like Juan Soto coming up. You know, I see a similar vibe. Those kinds of guys, there are a lot of them, and none of them play for the Cubs.
The only weakness for the Houston Astros going forward after this year is who is going to be their ace.
Sure.
With,
I don't know.
Garrett
if this
Cole
is
being a free agent.
They might be able to afford it, but I don't think this is their last gasp. But they're going to have to do more piecemeal next year with their pitching staff for sure. However, their pitching infrastructure has turned a lot of guys who had been written off into absolute aces, like their number 1 and 2 pitchers. So I'm confident that they are going to be able to get free agents to stick around in Houston, because guys who might be a little bit later on in their career, a little long in the tooth, who might have had some rough last couple of seasons, can go there, and as long as they stay healthy, you can be a phenomenal pitcher for the Astros. They know how to make great pitchers.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they do. I mean, they turned Verlander around. I mean, Verlander was not doing well when he was traded. He was not good for Detroit.
Garrett Cole, too.
Yeah, for Pittsburgh. And then, I mean, Garrett Cole's going to get a lot of money.
Yes, he is. He'll deserve it.
Yeah,
he'll be able to duplicate what
deserves it.
I don't think he can replicate what he's done in Houston, but he'll make a lot of money.
Do you want Garrett Cole on the Cubs? I know we're not talking off season. I'm just asking a question.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Hey, one positive, by the way, as long as we're talking pitching. Way to go, Tyler Chatwood. Way to turn your career around, man.
Oh,
I feel so good for you. I feel so good for you, Tyler Chatwood.
I do too.
This season has been so much fun to watch you and your filthy stuff. You are
Oh, no,
sick.
it's nasty.
Your stuff is amazing. You and Yu Darvish have the best stuff on this team.
Literally about to say that.
It is marvelous. Marvelous to watch.
Now,
way to go.
But are you okay with paying him $13 million a year to possibly not be a starter next year?
No. Maybe restructure that contract. Give him 10, 9. We'll see. He ain't throwing 100 innings. I don't think you deserve that if you don't throw 100 innings. Now, it's not his choice. I mean, he is a starting pitcher. He's just not a guy that Joe feels good about going out there for 5 innings.
Would you be okay for next year? And this is the only 2020 question I'm going to ask you after one more. But
sure.
Are you okay with possibly a fifth starter combination of Chatwood and Azole?
Are you saying a 6-man rotation, or are you saying a piggyback?
No, I'm saying a piggyback. I'm saying Chatwood for 3 and then or vice versa.
I'm not furious with it, but I don't know if the Cubs have the forethought to do that. Maybe the next manager will think of that.
Oh, don't say that.
Maybe the front office will give the next manager a mandate, and they might say, "Hey, Joe Girardi, how about you try this?"
Don't say that name. I do not want Joe Girardi. I don't care if Joe Maddon's not the manager next year. I've accepted that it might not happen. I don't have to like it, but I've kind of accepted it. But I do not want Joe Girardi. I think you're taking a huge step back if you get Joe Girardi as your manager. There's a reason. There's a reason he is not the manager of that Yankees team right now.
He's won the same number of World Series as Joe Maddon.
I understand that, but there is a reason he is not with the Yankees still. And you have to realize that.
All right, that's a discussion for 6 months from now.
Oh, gosh, absolutely.
Or even 3 months from now.
Ooh, or 3 weeks.
Don't say 2.
I almost said 3 weeks, but...
Let's stick to now.
Stick to the plan. The plan being stay within 3 games of the Cardinals before the 7 games start against them to end the season. That's all that matters.
Correct.
At least give yourself a shot.
What a crappy plan.
What a horrible plan.
I mean,
all you got to do is stay within 3 games. That's all you got to do.
3 games of a team you play 7 times. This was supposed to be a division-winning ball club this year. And not according to Pacoda. But this was supposed to be a division-winning ball club this year. That was their expectation within that clubhouse. And we're telling them to stay within 3 games of a team you're going to play 7 times.
Does it bother you that Pacoda was kind of right?
I'm going to puke. Well, yeah. So, okay, the Cubs start the year out 2-7. Then they go 23-7. They're 11 games over 500, 25 and 14. Since then, they've gone 2 games under 500. This is a 500 ball club that had a hot streak in May.
Yeah. Yeah, you've said that all year.
Yeah.
I hate you for it, but you're right.
I don't like me for it either. I wish this was a 94 win ball club right now, obviously.
Yeah, they should be. I mean, talent-wise, they should be.
It probably should be an 85 win ball club right now. I think that Pythagorean has them 2 games better than they've been. Like, they should be.
It has it at 80 right now.
What's that?
They have it at 80 right now.
80? Okay, and they've won 76? Well,
yeah.
that's an indictment on the manager, honestly.
That's bullpen mismanagement is what that is.
It
Or
is,
bullpen
yeah.
pitchers not performing at the level they should be. What about that?
The bullpen isn't, and the offense isn't performing at their levels enough. I mean, watch tonight. The pitching staff is great, and the Cubs lose 2-1 or something.
Right.
We'll find out.
Does it bother you? Okay, I mean, did you really expect Cole Hamels to be the guy we got this year? Did that bother you?
No.
Do you? And hindsight's 2020, but do you regret the $20 million?
No, he's been hurt. I can't regret that.
Okay.
I regret Brandon Morrow.
Oh, God,
But
I
I
don't
don't
know
regret-
anybody who wouldn't regret that.
Yeah.
Did you know Lester loses $7 million next year on his contract? He drops from 27 to 20 million.
Yeah, the Cubs have tons of money after this season.
I calculated that they're going to have roughly about $50 million to spend next year. And that's after arbitrations and tendered contracts.
Yes, and people are going to want to play for the Cubs.
Yes.
It just depends on where you use that money.
Your
You use
biggest
it on
arbitration case is going to be Wilson Contreras because he's going to he's making $684,000 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely see that getting bumped up to at least 3.5.
And if you don't trade Chris Bryant, he's going to be making a lot more than his $10 million.
They are not going to. No, he's making 12 right now.
Okay.
So I would expect that to bump up to about 15.
Okay.
Schwarber's about 3.5 right now. That'd probably get 40 home runs. Might get him about 5.
Keep him.
Keep him.
Keep him.
Addison Russell, 3.4. That's definitely going to come off the books. They will not
Get
tender him a
rid
contract.
of him.
Yeah, he's got to go.
You're gonna. You will get.
What's the other one? There's Rizzo has an option of 16.5. That obviously would be picked up. The real question is, does Quintana get picked up? That's
I was just gonna ask about that.
$11.5 million option. I don't. If they really realistically want to go after another big starting pitcher, and that does include Garrett Cole, they have to consider not picking up the option of Jose Quintana.
They have to consider it, but you're not going to get better at the 4th starter than Jose Quintana.
I agree with you.
I know that you got to find yourself an ace, but I think you can do that in a way that keeps Quintana on the books.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you are losing $20 million from Cole Hamels. You're losing $7 million in Lester's contract with it dropping to $20 million.
You're losing Brandon Morrow.
You're losing Brandon Morrow's $9 million. You're losing Chatward gets a $1 million bump. Hayward actually gets a $1 million bump. Did you know that? He goes from 20 to 21. I had looked at all this morning. That's how I know all this. Almora is another interesting arbitration case. He's making about $656, I think it is right now, thousand. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets bumped up to at least 800. I could see him wanting $1 million. Just based on his glove alone, I could see him asking for that. I don't know if they come to an agreement. I feel like Almora might be the one that goes to an arbitration case.
Is there a way that Almora accepts getting shot out of a cannon far, far away from Wrigley Field so he never has to face right-handed pitching again?
That would be cool.
Okay.
I would actually pay to see that.
By the way, for the record, I like Albert Almora as a person. Very intense guy, very sincere. Also, a really good person.
Yes.
Really, really good
Really
human
good
being.
person.
Fine man, and honestly, somebody that Cubs fans should be proud to root for.
Yes.
I just want him to be better at baseball. Is that so hard to
I just want him to be faster.
reconcile?
I
want him to be faster. I want him to have some level of consistent pop. And I don't just mean home runs. I mean extra base hits.
I want Albert Morrow. Right now, I'll take Almora Jr. of last year.
Yeah. His OPS this year has been trash.
That's horrible.
T-Rack.
I'll take the Almora Jr. of last year. If that's him, I'm okay with that, him being on the bench as your fourth outfielder.
Totally.
I'm perfect. Give him $1 million. I'm good with it.
Well,
To be
I
your
mean, you
fourth
only gave
outfielder,
Bodie-
I mean, yeah, exactly. You gave Bodie, what, 3.5?
yeah, about.
So Almora as your fourth outfielder at $1 million or 1.5 is not that bad.
No, and he'll be rich. He's rich, so that's
Yeah,
good.
exactly. But yeah, so that's about $50 million. If they just want to get to the level they're at this year, budget wise, they're gonna have about $50 million to spend. And that's before you re-sign Castellanos, and that's before you re-sign Brendan Kinsler.
Yeah, the Cubs will go into this. Will be the last thing I say about 2020, and
Yes.
frankly, realizing that we have to talk about that right now makes me want to drink. So let's get to that pretty soon.
Ooh, that's next.
Um,
Very exciting. But go ahead.
The Cubs will go into spring training 2020 expecting to win the World Series
Absolutely.
in that clubhouse. This will not be a rebuilding year. They might retool in the offseason, but the product that they put on the field opening day of 2020 is one that they will expect to win the World Series or the season will be a failure.
I agree because here's the last thing I agree with you, and here's the last thing I'm going to say about 2020. There's only 2 guaranteed bullpen arms from this year that's going to carry over. That's Rowan Wick and Craig Kimbrell. That's it. Mm-hmm. That is it. Those are your guarantees that are going to be here next year in Chicago to start the season.
I like Rowan Wick.
I really like Rowan Wick. I love the idea of him being the 8th inning guy. Love the idea.
I like him being in the bullpen warming up, and I get to say to my kids, "Hey, look, girls, Rowan Wick is throwing quick," and then they get to roll their eyes at me. But it's just a fun little.
Like I
thing
just did. I think I just rolled my eyes at you.
Well, we're dads.
Yeah, right? Okay, so this is the Ivy Boys podcast presented. Wait, by the way, so that means, are you agreeing that they don't re-sign Steve Cishek?
Yeah, and he's given the Cubs a lot.
He's given them everything.
The Cubs don't re-sign him.
I tip my hat to Steve Cishek, and that'll be the end of it. Thank you for literally throwing your arm off for the Chicago
Thank you for
Cubs.
your services. Enjoy your money. You did get money out of this.
Yeah.
And ply your trade somewhere else.
Yeah. I agree. Okay, so it's time to drink. This is the Ivy Boys podcast presented by the MVP Realtor of the St. Louis area. That's Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker, 314-369-9680, or RebeccaSellsDreams.com. If you're looking to sell your home or buy a new home, let's say you're looking for your first home or your forever home, Rebecca Lewis is the person to call because she's a no-nonsense realtor who gets the job done. She tells you exactly what you need to do to put your house at any buyer's must-have list. She will, and she will. It's simple. It's simple. You either listen to Rebecca or you're not going to sell your house, at the price you want to sell it at. I don't know what to tell you. Rebecca Lewis literally sold the last 2 houses she sold. She sold one of them within a week. She sold another one within 24 hours. Why? Because Rebecca Lewis told them exactly what they needed to do to get their house ready for the perfect buyer. And they did that, and it sold. Rebecca Lewis knows what she's doing. She's an amazing realtor. And it's simple. Just call her, 314-369-9680. If you have any questions about buying or selling your home, Rebecca Lewis can answer it. It does not matter if you live in the St. Louis area. If you are moving to Chicago or Des Moines or Omaha or someplace other than St. Louis, and you want to find the best realtor in that city, Rebecca Lewis can give you a referral. She will find that realtor for you. So that's one less thing you have to worry about. So again, Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker, 314-369-9680, or RebeccaSellsDreams.com.
That's right. Hey, a lot of people are moving to Des Moines. So if you're in the St. Louis area and want to sell your home, do it, man, because
I like
Des Moines is hot.
I like Des Moines. Christy and I went and visited there in 2014. Loved it. We're talking about maybe going back next year. Got to see you. We'll go to an Iowa Cubs game. See, let's see. We'll see Brendan Davis. I'm excited for Brendan Davis.
If it's been 5 years since you've been to Des Moines, believe me, you're going to want to come back. A lot of good has happened in the last 5 years. It's been very impressive.
I'm very excited for that. You know what was so great about going to Des Moines? Okay,
What's that, my friend?
Besides going to the Iowa Cubs and seeing Chris Bryant, getting my picture taken with him, and getting an autograph on a baseball with him, it was like we were away from home, but we were comfortable enough that it felt like we were at home. We just did stuff that we felt like we were here. We were back home in St. Louis. We went to great restaurants. We went and saw a movie in Des Moines on vacation. We went and saw a movie. It was awesome. It was absolutely amazing. It was so relaxing. It was one of the most relaxing vacations I've ever had. Hands down.
We'll take you guys to the district. We'll get you some Jethro's barbecue. You'll enjoy it. You'll love it.
I'm already excited. I got to go to Adventureland.
Oh,
I have to.
Oh, we'll have season passes next year, so come with us and we'll have a good time.
Because, okay, so we used to drive from Chicago, Crystal Lake area, actually Crystal Lake, south, northwest suburbs. We used to drive from there, Crystal Lake, to either Omaha or Kansas City. We'd go through Des Moines and we'd drive by Adventureland every single time on I-80. And I always wanted to go there, and I still have never been. So I just want to point that out.
There's stuff. How old will Bree be? She'll be 3 years old then?
Yes, Bree will be 3.
There's stuff to do.
That's awesome.
3-year-olds can have fun there.
And I think she'd have a blast in an Iowa Cubs game.
Totally.
Very friendly, family friendly. So, yes, definitely Des Moines is definitely a destination that you should go. Because if you want to go on vacation but still feel comfortable like you're at home, Des Moines, Iowa is the place to go.
Mm-hmm. Omaha's like that too, but I mean, I'm partial to Des Moines because
clearly you're there. Yes, I do like Omaha. So my dad's from north of Omaha in Blair, Nebraska. So. Anyway, so the Cubs make us drink. I mean, there's no way around that, right? I mean, not only the Cubs, but the Thursday night game against the Bears-Packers, they make us drink. This stuff makes us drink. Let's do it. Let's get the music going.
Let's go.
Let me pull this up. German beer drinking. This is our go-to beer drinking song. So we kept it simple. We both were going to. Oh, this is a new song. Oh, I like it. We both had Oktoberfest on Monday before the technical difficulties. I had a Schlafly's, which is the biggest local brewery here outside of AB in St. Louis. It was really good. It tasted really, really good. I really like it. It reminds me of the Sam Adams Oktoberfest, which, Joel, is what you were drinking on Monday, correct?
Loved it. I love Sam Adams Oktoberfest. Next week, I will do a different Oktoberfest beer. I'm auditioning a couple to see which one I like, and then I will drink my favorite on the show. Nice.
What am I going to do? I'm trying to think what I have. There's a local brewer here, O'Fallon, has one. I might go Leinenkugel Oktoberfest. So I'm really curious about this one. I'm very curious. I have not tried this Oktoberfest yet, so I'm very curious about it. But so tonight, we're keeping it simple. We're keeping it to our normal beers. Joel's going with the Iowa favorite, Busch Light. I'm going with my my go-to beer, the Miller Lite. Joel, are you excited for, what is it, Iowa State versus Iowa in a college game days in Ames?
Call it first time ever in Ames.
That's right.
I was born at the University of Iowa, the hospital there.
There you go.
And I have been a Hawkeye fan my entire life, and I predict the score of the game will be 24-10 Hawkeyes.
Okay, there you go. So you're go Hawkeyes. I'm just going to watch because it's going to be awesome.
Oh, sure. It'll be a lot of fun.
Okay. By the way, the game's about to start, so we got to finish this up. All right, on the count of 3, go Cubs, go.
Go
1,
Cubs,
2,
go.
3. Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
That hit the spot. That's what I needed. I needed that.
Very satisfying.
That was okay. So I totally lapsed on the time on this one. So we got to wrap this up. Game starting. All right.
Yep.
So final thoughts. Do we want to go there? I mean, we pretty much covered what my final thoughts were covered in the show.
Mine were too, man. Stay within 3 games before you the Cardinals series.
That's simple as that. I mean, we agree on that 100%. So we'll move on from there. We'll finish this up, wrap it up. This is follow us on Twitter. That's simple as that. At the Ivy Boys. Follow us, like us on Facebook. The Ivy Boys. You can follow us on Twitter at ChipperStrike3. Just the number 3 for me. Joel's at Fry Sports Radio. Oh, Miller Lite. There it is. Like and subscribe to this YouTube page. Ooh, that one kind of burned a little bit. Like and subscribe to this YouTube page. We need subscribers. We gained, I think it was 5 in the last 2 days, so that's awesome. Keep it coming, guys. We need viewers. We need subscribers so we can get sponsors. That's what we're looking for. If you're interested in being a sponsor of the Ivy Boys, contact me at chipperstrike3@gmail.com. Or if you are looking to just donate to us, if you just love our show and want to help us out getting new equipment and getting the merch store going, email me, chipperstrike3@gmail.com. Well, check out the website, theivyboys.com. Joel's amazing blogs are up there. Definitely still check out that one, The Big Hurt versus the Machine. It is awesome. I think I've read it 3 times already.
I'm due for another one. Gosh,
Yes.
I'll think about that tomorrow
Yes.
and see what I want to write.
But I love The Big Hurt versus the Machine. That is one of my favorite articles that you've ever written. I just want to point that out.
So just in case you are new, thank you, by the way, for subscribing. That's awesome. I kind of focus on statistical player profiles, just guys like, hey, this person's doing really well, and here's why. Or this guy struggles, here's why. This person's going to struggle. Watch out for this sort of thing. That's kind of what I like to do with my blogs.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're really great. They are just, I don't know what else to say about them. So check out our website. If you like the way our website looks, scroll all the way down. You see Bob Marufo's name right there. Clicks it, takes you to his website, bobdoeswork.com. 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 If you love the way our logos look, if you want merchandise done for sports teams or anything like that, bobdoeswork.com. Bob Marufo does amazing work. Joel and I will sit here and swear by Bob Marufo and Vince. Or Vince Hennings, that's his last name. Sorry, Vincent. We will swear by them because we would not be here without them. I actually had a meeting with both of them last night. We'd fixed the technical difficulties here, and then we went over some thought that I had going on with the YouTube page that I want to enhance it a little bit. So that's where we are because they listen, and they do amazing work. So definitely check out Bob Marufo if you need anything like that. And he'll hook you up with him and Vince, and you won't be disappointed. I promise. Anyways, again, we are sponsored by Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker, 314-369-9680, RebeccaSellsDreams.com. That is it for us, folks. We appreciate the support, and we will see you next episode. Go, Cubs, go.
Go, Cubs, go.